The Duntov, the name Duntov, you talk about Corvette, you can't say Corvette without Duntov. Zora Arkus Duntov was a genius. And aside from that, he was also a bon vivant. You know, he was one of the jet setters. He was really a great, great man. And he loved racing. The reason that he went to work for General Motors was to race. It wasn't to be an engineer. It wasn't to be, you know, a corporate executive. It was to race. And when he found out that he could not race with Chevrolet or General Motors, it almost killed him. It was devastating. He had no idea what he could, how could he do. He had built these wonderful cars, the SS, the Grand Sport, and so on, couldn't run them. Because there was a corporate edict that you could not race out of Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, whatever. You couldn't do it. Government said, thou shalt not. So they thought it was unsafe. The government thought that racing, or the image of racing based on a production car, was incredibly unsafe. Well, you know, the Ralph Nader syndrome, you know, or a lot of the do-gooders, you know, that are trying to save us despite ourselves. And they were just, you can't race these cars. I mean, this is terrible. You know, it'd be, you know, sacrilegious. So he couldn't. But he knew a California hot rodder. And there were some guys in the East Coast, too. There was the Don Yenkos and Dick Thompson and myself and others that were racing. So he used us as his alter ego. He'd dream up these ideas. I get this phone call. Hey, Deke, Zora, I have an idea. You gotta try this. Then I'd call Zora up and I'd say, Zora, this is Deke. I got an idea. Let's try this and this and this. And so all of a sudden, I was staying at his house. I'd stay with him in, you know, in Lakeshore, over at Lakeshore, and he and Elfie and I had magnificent times. Brilliant man.
Well, let's talk about him because he was so important to hot rodding and sports car racing. I mean, you know, to have a set in Arden Heads. I mean, now you can't find them, right?
Yeah. Oh no.
You know,
No, there's no.
Well, what kind of things did he invent? How did he change technologically? How did he change racing? How did he change the engine? Just
well, Zora's influence on the Corvette was exemplary. It was huge. It took it from being that six-cylinder, little wimpy whatever into a race car. And he built the SS just to emulate what it could possibly be, which was a titanium-bodied, you know, front-engined, you know, completely articulated automobile. I mean, a real, close to an SLR Mercedes race car. And it put it on the map. It absolutely set the record at Sebring. I mean, it was the quickest car by far over all the Europeans at Sebring. And that was in 56, 57. And so the handwriting was on the wall. And this was before the edict came down that he couldn't race. And so he had people by the name of John Fitch, Dick Thompson, many other people, myself, that started to take on that role that he could no longer follow. So we started doing things. Fitch particularly probably single-handedly saved the Corvette, because it hadn't been for that technology and the excitement and the drive that went into the car, it probably would have been canceled. I don't think that it could have held up to the Thunderbird, but its racing image, because of Duntov and John Fitch, you couldn't beat. It absolutely put it on the map. It was a world beater. It wasn't an also-ran or second place. It was a world beater. I won the Daytona 24-hour, you know, Sebring, the 12-hour, you know, in a Corvette. And those things were impossible to do in American cars before that, unless they were specials. You know, Briggs Cunningham and a lot of the guys were California hot rodders, you know, but they had developed some specials and did quite well. But the Corvette was really what set the pace.